Welcome to Talk About Scary, the show where we do just that. Talk about scary places and whether or not we think the stories are true.
Hey Adam, how are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Outstanding. Yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm actually having a better time knowing that I don't have to tell the story today.
No,
it's your turn.
It's my turn. And I figured what a better thing to do than talk about a place that I love, Hawaii.
Oh, here we go again with Hawaii.
I've been to Hawaii twice now. I've been to Kauai, Maui, and I've set foot on Oahu, just in the airport, which is the island where the capital is located, Honolulu, and the story that I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it happened in the airport?
No, I mean, like, I landed in Oahu and then I flew to Maui because we were going to Maui, but we had a layover on Oahu, and I looked out the window and I saw them ghosts and I was just like, nah.
Oh, damn ghosts out that window. All right.
No, it looked like a great place. It's just I'd prefer to go to different islands before I went to Oahu. It's kind of touristy. Not my vibe.
Nice. Real pretentious.
All right. Moving on to the actual thing that I'm going to talk about is less of a place per se and more of a tiny portion of a place. So that's pretty vague. What I mean is it's a road, but the road is called Morgan's Corner because it's just a specific hairpin turn on the road. It's not the whole road.
So it's more of just a Morgan's hairpin turn. It's not really a corner.
Well, I mean, they call it Morgan's Corner, so like just okay.
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
So Morgan's Corner.
The road is actually called Nu'anu Pali Drive.
I bet you can't spell that.
It's Nu'anu space Pali space drive or road ROAD.
Is it? It's not a drive. It's a road. Okay. I'll let you slide.
It's also known as Old Poly Road. That's what it was originally called. Now,
What? Old Poly Road?
Old Poly. The area on the road is a little bit difficult to pinpoint on a map because roads in Hawaii are very twisty, turny. The environment is there's no straight shots in Hawaii. That's just not the way the landscape slides. So
Much like your stories.
okay, cheap shot. But the reason it's called Morgan's Corner is because right on the corner is where a Dr. James Morgan owned a house. He lived there in the 1920s. Since then, the house is no longer standing. So the name and area comes from where the house was located, but it's not there anymore. So on a map, it can be a little bit difficult to pinpoint. But it's just outside of Honolulu. It's very close to a big city. So a lot of locals, even visitors, know where it's at, and they go check it out. But I have a couple.
If you don't know,
I have a couple different.
You
stories.
better ask somebody.
Yeah, they're friendly. They'll tell you where it is. But I have a couple different stories. This isn't just a ghost named Morgan haunts it, because it doesn't even really have to do with Dr. James Morgan. It's just called that because of his property. The name stuck when an incident happened. So What happened was his neighbor in 1948 was murdered by 2 prison escapees. She was a 68-year-old widow with the last name Wilder. She was tortured, assaulted, and left for dead right there on the road. They had burglarized a nearby home and smelt her cooking. So they broke into her house and they killed her.
That's messed up.
It is. It is pretty messed up. They probably ate her
she haunts
food
the corner
too.
Oh, messed up.
Well,
so she haunts the corner?
No one really has seen her ghost. That's just kind of the first thing that happened there that led to speculation of these sightings that people claim to have seen and heard. So it's a real life, like you can research that really happened. So the murder happened right there on the corner, but there doesn't seem to be any energy left or anything of that nature from that whole murder case.
Well,
but it's still kind of scary to think
that.
about, you know, and
it is terrifying if that's a real life thing that happened and and it's verifiable. Then that's
and maybe like
kind of
cook with your windows closed. You never know.
Yeah, don't put any big fat cartoon pies out on the windowsill
or bacon, because bacon smells good to except vegetarians, to everyone. Though.
They got a lot of pigs on that island, though, don't they?
They
boar.
They do. They do.
Boar bacon. That sounds delicious. Start selling that.
We could just stop this show and go right now. You're paying?
Boar bacon.
You're paying.
No.
Okay.
No. I'm not the producer. You're the producer. You pay.
We'll see. Maybe.
Boar bacon. Okay.
Okay, well, there was another incident that happened. Same spot. Involving a young girl named Brittany, who hung herself on a tree at the end of the road, right at the turn. Oh. It's said that because her body wasn't found for several days, only her head was still on the noose when she was discovered. At her burial, her head was never reattached, and her body and spirit still haunt the area where she died. So people have seen her and heard her yelling out on that corner.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, kind of.
For real, her head was her body sloughed off, and her head was the only thing left.
Well, I mean,
on the noose.
Certain areas.
Is the head and neck dangling?
Certain areas in Hawaii are pretty dense and not seen that often. I mean, sure, it's right outside of Honolulu, but it's a smaller road, and oftentimes in Hawaii, some of these roads, especially the tight turns, are one lane. So it probably was very easy to not notice her. And I mean, I'm not a doctor, but eventually everything decomposes. So
yeah, it's just nasty though.
You know, unfortunately it's sad, but you don't find her for a while, and I'm not surprised that separation happens.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
That's just gross.
It is, and I feel bad for what happened. And even worse is there's no details as to why she did this. No note left. Obviously it was suicide, but it doesn't sound like she was mad, angry with anyone, got into an argument. No one seems to have talked to her or know why. I didn't go too deep into research, but it doesn't seem readily available. And it seems like it should, but you know, it's possible that the family is protecting the story. And young girl can mean 10 to 30. So
45.
Right? I'm sorry, did you say 4 or 5?
No, 45.
Like a 45-year-old, like you?
Yeah,
is that what you're
a young boy of 45.
A young. I don't know about that.
Come on.
It's like
give me something. Middle young. Kind of almost young. On the cusp of being young.
Semi-old.
You've given me a semi-old assignment.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so 2 violent occurrences happening on the same corner is pretty suspicious, I guess.
Well,
but it might not. It might have not been the only place that's ever happened. I mean, obviously, you go to South Phoenix, there's probably a good section of road where lots of people have died.
I don't go to South Phoenix.
Why not?
I don't know.
I think it's wonderful, and
okay.
That's it. That's all I'm saying about that.
Nice word choice.
Thank you.
Well, there is something else that happened there, but it's more of an urban legend than factual. But it's still pretty interesting. And urban legends are oftentimes built off of facts that have kind of swayed because the story gets told and details get changed. But it could still really have happened.
It sounds like you're backtracking a little bit to make up for the fact that this part of the story is not going to be that good.
No, I'm just being honest that this is an urban legend on the island of Oahu. There's not facts to back this up, but please don't take that as it's not scary, because it's scary. It's probably the scariest thing that I'm going to talk about Morgan's Corner. It's just a ghost story though, but I've got some notes on my notebook written down. All right. You've probably heard something similar to this story before. It sounds like it's from a movie, and maybe it is, but think about it this way. Maybe the movie's based on this.
All right. I'm already starting off skeptical here. Sounds a bit rough.
It involves a young couple, a large old tree, and a tapping sound on the roof of the car that they drove. The couple had parked under the tree one night when they were on their way home. Anyway, they stopped. Maybe they were making out, getting busy. Who knows?
Getting busy.
Yeah, you know.
Like it's 1995. Getting busy, y'all.
Simpler times. It's an older urban legend, so getting busy fits with the generation, but they decided to leave and the car wouldn't start. It was late at night, car wouldn't start. The boy decided to go get help, leaving the girl in the car alone. She waited a long time. Eventually, she fell asleep. It was windy, and long branches of the tree could be heard scraping against the car's roof. And Hawaii, everything is so lush that oftentimes literally tree branches are like coming onto the road. Like if you're not careful, you're gonna
so lush
whack yourself. And it really is like that though. So
don't whack yourself in Hawaii, whatever you do. It's dangerous there. Don't whack yourself in Hawaii on a tree branch.
The car's parked, so it makes perfect sense that tree branches are hitting the car. It's windy. That's just the way it works. Next thing she knows, it's morning. She wakes up by a policeman who has surrounded the vehicle. There's a couple of them. And they ask her to get out of the car. And they start walking her away from the car and tell her not to look back. And she tries explaining to them what happened, and she's worried. But curiosity makes her turn back towards the car. That's when she saw her boyfriend hanging upside down from the branches of the tree, the large tree that they were parked under. His torso was sliced open, and his fingertips were scraping the roof of the car as his body swayed in the wind. So It wasn't even the tree that was hitting the roof. It was his body and his hand. He was dead the whole time.
That's rough.
Well, I'll be the first to admit
if
that there's no names, there's no police report. So again, it's likely that most of it's not factual. Something similar to that could have happened, and this is the story that Hawaii is left with.
That sounds an awful lot like the movie Urban Legends to me. Was that the movie?
About urban legends?
That was a movie, right?
There is a movie
wasn't that
called
a movie?
Urban Legends. I mean,
about urban legends, right?
I would hope that's what it's about. If it was about a cat, that'd be weird. Like,
no, I mean this story is in that movie. I think.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like other urban legends, like the Hook. You know, everyone's heard that story, and there's some other ones that are very similar. So I prefaced this by saying it's an urban legend, but it takes place on the same corner where actual death has occurred in a relatively peaceful place of the United States.
I'm sorry, I've seen Dog the Bounty Hunter. You can't tell me that's a peaceful part of the United States. Looks pretty damn violent there, and there seems to be a lot of people jumping bail.
Well, regardless,
I'm not wrong,
for the
though,
most
right?
part, it's peaceful.
Television would have me believe otherwise.
Television is 100% factual. 100%.
100% factual. Real news. Hashtag real news. Okay, so I mean, these three things happened there, right? We got the old lady who got murdered by the convicts, which I love that. No, I don't love the dead old lady. I don't love. I don't know her.
No one wants dead old ladies.
No, but I like the story. I enjoy it. The Britney story, kind of on the cusp about, but obviously you probably can find that information.
There's
out.
a first and last
really
name. I don't want to disclose the full name, but you can certainly look that up. When you look up Morgan's Corner, she is like the first thing that pops up. And there's definitely a lot of evidence supporting that. I just wish there was more of a story behind it. You know, why did she do that? But
that's pretty creepy.
Maybe that's why she's so tortured and she stayed there. It's not because her head literally got stuck in the noose as she died and she's upset about it. It's literally, it sounds like she went out and is regretting some things and maybe has unfinished business, and unfortunately we'll probably never be able to do anything about it. But
you can go ask her.
I don't want to because I think that's pretty scary.
It is pretty terrifying, but I mean, I think this is worth us going to investigate. You paying for a plane ticket for me to go to Oahu and to investigate it. I think that's a good idea.
One day. not
you heard it here first.
Not today, not tomorrow, and probably not the next.
I tried. I gave it a shot. Well, that was pretty scary. I don't know about the urban legend one about the hook monster and the couples on Lover's Lane. I think that's pretty sketchy. That seems pretty full of lies.
Well, here's the thing: is Old Poly Road is a hub of Oahu supernatural activities. I don't know how much you know about Hawaiian culture, but King Kamehameha is kind of a big deal. You can read up all about Hawaiian history, but ghosts of his opponents that died in battle supposedly haunt the area too. There's a cliff right near Morgan's Corner where supposedly a big battle happened, and his opponents that perished they're still there, and that's kind of scary too.
Do people see them?
It's hard to tell. When I read up on it, I didn't find a whole lot, but I know that Hawaiian culture is very, very deep and rich with King Kamehameha and everything that they went through as a people before they became a U.S. state. So I wouldn't be surprised if people see them, but it's definitely not something that tourists talk about seeing soldiers.
That is probably the coolest part about this entire story.
Well,
You should have led with that.
I should have. My mistake. The problem is, though, is while that sounds cool, that's not really that much different than the Lover's Lane tale. There's not really facts or evidence to back that up. Maybe it sounds cooler than the Lover's Lane story, but it's all based on speculation. But Hawaiians believe that 100%. They're big in culture. If that's anything I learned from visiting the islands, which I'm not bragging about.
Well, maybe the reason why the Brittany girl killed herself is she was possessed to do so by these old soldiers.
I suppose.
Right.
There's probably a lot of this story left out just from the whole corner. I mean, roads in general on Hawaii are pretty dangerous. The road to Hana on Maui is really scary. They recommend that you read this whole section on their website about the rules of the road while driving there, because so much of it is one-way bridges, and I think there's like over 300 turns, I want to say, if I remember right. I drove on it, and it's pretty intense, but
you're a bad driver as it is, though.
Thank you.
So what you're saying, right? I mean, if I get this straight, is that Morgan's Corner, much like a lot of the hairpin turns in Hawaii, are kind of like camping because they're intense.
Wow.
Come on, that was good. That was really good.
Wow.
You gotta love that. That was fantastic.
That was all right. So I'm guessing though that you don't really think that Morgan's Corner is haunted. It's kind of just another road in space to you.
I don't think anything is haunted.
But if somewhere is, it's not there.
I don't know. When you talk about like old Civil War sites, a lot of people in America talk about old Civil War sites and hauntings there. And if nothing else, it just brings back the history. So I did like the King Kamehameha part. And there are actual murders that have happened there. And obviously, there's a murder that happened there. And there was a suicide. And that's terrifying stuff.
If nothing else, there's at least facts that there was an actual crime that happened there,
which is actually better than a lot of the stories that are out there.
Yeah, so
if you think about it,
I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I love Hawaii, and it is definitely a more peaceful place compared to other parts of the country, but I do like the idea of there being a little bit of darkness to the state too. But
heck yeah,
I don't know, I'll have to visit.
So it's called Morgan's Corner, though?
Morgan's Corner. And I can't really give you a phone number to call the help desk for this place. There's not like a secretary at the corner. And again, on a map, it's hard to locate because the house for Dr. James Morgan is no longer standing. But I'm sure the locals can help you out. So if you want to visit it, Morgan's Corner, Oahu, check it out. Let us know if you see or hear anything. But I think we're out of time for this episode. So...
all right. So thanks for watching, guys, and creep it real.
I'm going to say it. Creep it real. Trying to steal my line.
It could be my line, too. If you're going to do a Hawaiian episode, I would have liked to wear a Hawaiian shirt.
There's always...
you could have told us ahead of time.
More islands. There's actually 8 main islands and over 100 for the archipelago. So we'll probably be back to Hawaii.
Archipelago. You know how I can tell if you've been to Hawaii? You're going to tell me like 15 times.
I've been to Hawaii.